So let me just introduce ourselves. Like myself, I am Khalil Ahmad, and the mentor is Irfan. So today, we are going to see certain topics in Python. So before that, like let me start with our thing. And we like bigdatahandson.com. So we are operating from 2011 to till date, and we take most of the online trainings and also direct trainings in Chennai, and also we are planning to open in Trichy as well. And these are all. This is our website, and you can just go see there, and you can browse our videos which we have took in our previous sessions. So today is the part 3 sessions. So part 2 and part 1 will be available here. So part 2 is this one, and part 1 and part 2 is this part 1, and this is part 2. So you can just you can see those session, and you can just click on that, and you can see, like you can just click on this video, so and you can see part 2. People who would have missed those session, you can just make use of this, and you can click on it, and you can see that sessions, so it will be clear. So all these sessions, you can have it here, and you can see these. And uh, regarding the today's session, today's session is actually part 3. So the content which we are going to cover here is the modules part. You can see it here, the modules, files, file IO, introduction to OOPS, classes and objects. Then it's constructors, as constructors and destructors, and types of variables, and types of methods which you are going to see today. And if there is any doubts, you can just make it as in our chat, or you can just that is you can send your request here to bigdatahandson.com. My name is Khalil Ahmad, and our number is 978-988-424. So now we shall go for the session. And now Irfan, you can just you can take control of the screen, and you can share the screen and start the session. Thank you.
Okay, let's start the session. Yesterday, we will see in functions, user-defined function, inbuilt function, lambda function is there. So yesterday we saw these two, user-defined and inbuilt. In this user-defined, we have 4 types of functions. One is function without parameter, function with parameter, function with parameter and with return type, function without parameter and with return type. So we have for examples, we have 4 examples here. So this is for first example, function without parameter and without return type, and this is second example, so with parameters. And is the third one, function with parameter and with return type. The last one is without parameter and with return type. It's the 4 types of functions. And we will see today the types of arguments here. Arguments are the passed values in function calling. In function calling, we are passing 2 values, that is an argument. So type of functions may change the type of arguments also. Let's see type of arguments. So first type of arguments is required argument. and the second one is default argument, and the third one is keyword argument, and the fourth one is variable length argument. And the last one is keyword length argument. These are the four types of arguments. We will see first required argument. Let's see. Let's take this example. Add. So we are having two parameters here. So I'm just passing two arguments. What happened if I doesn't pass the arguments? So of course it will give you an error. So that error is missing required positional argument. So these two are the required positional arguments. We need to give the value uh, to the parameters like two. Like add missing two required positional arguments A and B. So we need to pass the values for that. It is compulsory to pass the values, and we need to pass the values in position wise. Like first value will go to the first parameter, and the second argument will go to the second parameter. And let's see another example. Def subtraction. So it will also take two parameters A and B. Now I'm going to print the subtraction is A minus B. I'm going to call the function sub. In that, I'm going to give two values for A and B. Let's say 10, 15. So it will give me the subtraction of 10 and 15. So it is giving me minus 5 because 10 is lesser than the 15. So 10 minus 15 will be minus 5. So we need to give 15 and 10. So that's how it will give you a positive 5. So 15 minus 10 will be 45. Sorry, 3 plus 5. And for this, if I pass 10 comma 15, that is a mistake. It will give you a minus 5. So you need to be sure that first parameter will take the highest value, and the second parameter will take the lowest value. So how we can do this? So first example is required argument, and say I'm going to pass highest value to A. How we can pass highest value to A? Let's say A is equal to 15. So A equal to 15 will become A to the 15, and the lowest value will go to the B. So B will become 10. So we can pass like this. So B equal to 10 and A equal to 15. This type of argument is called keyword argument. So we are using the parameter name to give the argument. So that is the type of arguments. It's keyword argument. So always we will get plus 5 only. We can also change the position of A and B. So I'm just first I'm giving the B value, and after that I'm giving A value. So that is possible here. So that's why we are using keyword argument. And say if I'm passing the value for B, I'm not passing the value for A. So it will give you an error. Say change A. So missing one required positional element, we need to give the value for parameter B. So what happened if I wouldn't give? So it will throw an error. I don't want like that. So defaultly it needs to take some values. You can define the values as in a function definition. So for B, I'm going to assign 0. If you don't give the parameter, it will take 0. If you give the value, it will take that value. So 15 minus 0 will be 15. So if I give the value, say 10, it will work. So 15 minus 10,
Amaga.
B is equal to. And we are getting 5. So plus 5. Okay, this is a default argument. So we can assign a value for parameters in the function definition, that is default argument. Okay? And variable length argument. Let's say this example in add, we have only 2 values. If I pass 3 values, just add is a common no. It will add those values. It will add those values. So what happened if I pass another argument? So we have given only 2 parameters, but I am passing 3 arguments. So it will give you the same error, takes 2 positional argument, but 3 were given. So I am giving 3. No, I want like a function will take all the arguments, whatever I give, it will take. So I'm giving 3. If I give 4 or 5, it needs to take. So how you can do that? In the function definition, just to put a star before the argument. Let's say A, it's a parameter. So before the parameter, I'm putting a star. So it will take all the values. If I'm passing 4 values, it will take. If I pass a 3 value, it will take. It will take. So it will give you. Like I'm printing A. So it is giving me all the arguments I passed. If I give another argument, it will take that argument also. So that's how it works. The add will add those values. To add those values, we have a function called sum. In the sum, we can pass this is called a tuple. Okay, we will see in this session what is tuple and list. So this is a type of tuple. So this is a brackets here. That is denoting that is a tuple. So sum will add those values. So it will give you a sum value. So 175. So this is a variable length argument. Whatever arguments I give, it needs to take. Okay. So the last one is keyword length argument. I'm not assigning a parameter here, but I want to give the arguments like A equal to 15 and B equal to 10. keyword arguments like that. So I give c equal to 20. It needs to be take. The sub needs to be take all these parameters are given like keyword argument. This keyword length argument. The keyword argument will can the length of keyword argument can change. So it needs to be take all the keyword arguments. Take all the keyword arguments. We need to put double star before the parameter. Let's say A. If I print A, so it is taking all the keyword arguments. So A colon 15 and B colon 10, C colon 20. These are the variables that we passed in here. So A equal to 50 is the variable name and is the value which passed in here. So this is the variable name and this is the value. So that we can give multiple keyword arguments. So it will take this. So it is a type of dictionary. So this is also a type. So you can see here curly brackets. Curly brackets denote this is a dictionary. See, these are the types of arguments. One is required argument. We need to pass the value for the parameter, that is required argument, and default argument. If you don't pass the value for
Irfan, just wait a minute. Someone is not on mute. Can you just mute? Najma, can you mute yourself? And NP1, Najma, kindly mute yourself. Irfan, you can continue, Irfan.
so the another one is default argument. If you don't give a value for a parameter, so it will take defaultly some values. That is default argument. And another one is keyword argument. If you want to pass a particular parameter, only this value. So we can give like this. This is a keyword argument. So I need to pass A. For A, I need to give 15. So specifically, I'm giving for A to 15. That is keyword argument. And the fourth one, variable length argument. Whatever arguments I give, it needs to be take. So that's why I put a star before the parameter name. So it will take all the arguments which are passed in here. So passing the arguments would be like this also. It's a keyword length argument. For keyword length argument, we put double star here. So it will take all the keyword arguments, so which are passed in here. This is the four type of arguments. Let's move on to the other. Now we are going to see the tuple. I said no before. It's a tuple. So brackets which are passed values, comma separated. That is a tuple. So tuple also a type of sequential data type. So string also a sequential data type. So that is using an index value to get the characters. So this is a set of characters. String is a set of characters that are placed in some indexes, 0 to something. Okay. Like this also, we have another type. One is a tuple. So let's say a variable a is equal to giving a equal to, and in brackets I'm going to give some values. Let's take this tuple here. So the tuple can contain any values, not only integers, can contain also strings. Also it can contain floating point values, and also it can contain Boolean values. So if I print A, you can see all those values. So like I said, this is sequential data type. You can have some indexes for each element. In tuple, it is called an element. Okay, so the element number for this element we have index 0, and for this element index is 1, and it is 2, and it is 3, it is 4. So we can access those values with the index values. So how we can access the value with index? Using a square bracket. So after the name, put a square bracket. In that square bracket, just pass the index value. Let's say 3. So it will give me, I think, 50.56. Okay. Uh, in index, you can also access the values like in the from last one also. So for accessing the last element, we can have negative indexes also. For negative indexes start from -1. This is -1, and this is -2, and this is -3, and it is -4, it is -5. So we can access from last one. So last one index is starting from -1, from to -2, -3, -4. I put -1 here. So it is giving me true. It is accessing the last one. If you don't know the last index in positive number, you can just put -1. It will give you the last element. Okay. Like string also, uh, tuple also is a immutable function, immutable object. So that's we cannot change the values after assigning that. Let's say a colon 1. I'm changing the first element, the first index element. I'm going to change, let's say 30. It will give you an error because it cannot support item assignment. So it is immutable. We cannot change it. Like string also an immutable object. We cannot change it. And like string, it has some two functions here. So only two functions is available in tuple. So one is count. We have seen the count before in string. So it will calculate the occurrences of an element. Let's say I'm passing 10. I'm passing the element 10. It will search for element 10. So it is available here. And let's say I'm assigning another time. So it is available here. So 2 times the 10 is available in this tuple. So it will give me 2. Okay, it's giving me 2. Get another function, this index. Index will give you the index of the element. Say 15. What is the 15 index? It is 1. So it is giving me 1, the index value. It's two function only, which is very useful. Why we are using tuple is because in the for loop or the looping function, looping object, the tuple will work faster. Say for you can use tuple also in for loop. For I in a print I. So print I will printing one by one elements in that tuple. So that's how it works. And we can also add another value to the tuple like this. We are passed in string concatenation. Like that we have in tuple we can also add another value. So I'm adding the value false. Just put a plus equal to increment operation, and here we need to give like a tuple. It only add which are passed as a tuple. So we need to give as a tuple. After that we need to give comma. So it's denoting a tuple. So tuple we can add to the another tuple. If I print a, so it has added to the tuple. You can see false is added to the tuple. So we can use incrementing operation for adding a value. So that's it. We'll see an example. I will open yesterday's example. This one. This one. That's this one. So what it does, it will fetch the one by one value in the string. So it will count how much it occurs. So it is counting str1 dot count of I is h. So it will count the occurrence of h. H is only one time. If that is for the count, we need to print this dollars. So you can see h is occurs once, so it is printed $1. So e is occurs once, so it is printing $1. L is occurs 3 times, so it is printing $3. You can see here we have some duplicate values available here. So L is also printed 3 times, 1, 2, and 3 times. We only want only one time, so O also is available 2 times. You can see here it's printing $2, but $2 it is printing 2 times. That's why it's problem. So we need to filter out that, filter the duplicate values. Let's take this example here, and now we are going to filter the values. After filtering, it will look like just to store a value inside the tuple. Let's take empty tuple. So we will add the uh, non-duplicate values, only occurs one time. So h, it will assign the h to that, and it will assign e, and it will assign l. So another l it will come, so it will ignore that, and o will assign to the tuple, and space and w. If another time o is coming, it will ignore that. So how you can do that? Before the printing, we need to just filter out. So let's say for ch character in str1. So we need to check whether the character is inside the tuple or not. If the character is not available here, just assign the character to the tuple. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So we need to check whether the character is not in there. So ch not in tup. So if not in, we need to add the character. How we can add? We can use the incrementation operator to add the values. Inside that, we need to pass the character ch, and we need to put last one comma. So it will looks like a tuple. It will add the value. Let's say h. It will add the value h here. Sorry, capital H. And the e will come. E is here or not? So it's not in here. So it will assign another e, and the L will come. So L is here or not? No, not in here. So it will assign the value. Another L is coming. So it will check whether the L is here or not. So it's available in the tuple. So it will ignore that. Like that. After this loop, you can just print the tuple. Just command this. So now just filter it out. So non-duplicate values, you can see L is occurs only once in here. So now what we need to do, we need to loop over the for loop. Again, EUP. Let's say the first item is H. Say we need to count the H value. So let's take this. So we need to count item. So this item is H. Now we need to count in that str how many times the H is occurs. So that will come on count here, and we need to print the item and the count star dollar. The count times we need to print the dollar. That's it. So we can see here non-duplicate values. It is counted. So L is printing 3 times, and O is printed. Occurs 2 times. So it is only printed in 1 time only. So that's what example. We are using tuple to filter that. Let's move on to the like tuple. Also we have another data type, that is list. So list is in another languages we can say that is an array. So array is it's like an list only. In Python that is a list. In that other languages, array can contain only the same values, but in the list in Python can contain any values. Let's say li equal to create a list, we need to put square brackets here. In that square brackets, we need to pass the values. We need to give the values. Say 10, 20, 30. So this is comma separated values. Now it's like a list. In here, we can pass multiple values like this type of string, and this type of floating point number. Any type we can contain, and boolean type also it can contain. So like tuple also it can contain any type of values here. The list can contain another list also. That is called two-dimensional list. So this is one-dimensional, and inside you give that is two-dimensional. Say 20, 60. So it can also contain another list. If I print the list, So it is printing all the elements in that list. Like on the data type, sequential data type, we have indexes also for 0 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and this like an element, not a list, this is an element. For this element, the index is 6. Okay. To access the list, you need to give the index number 6. Say I am giving the index as 6. So now if I print, so it will print the list. In that list, I want 40. What I can do, I can just put another square brackets here. Inside this, we can give the index of 40. 40, that is 1. Now it will give me 40. So that is two-dimensional list. That is one on row and one is column. Okay. You can also have negative indexes. -1, -2, -3. Like that it will goes on. And like other sequential data types, we have some functions, useful functions here. Just put dot here, it will show up. No, it's not showing. Not, like dot. So now you can see the functions: append, clear, copy, count. Are useful functions. Append is used for adding a value. Let's say I'm adding false in the list. It will add the value in the end of the list. After appending, just print. So now the false is added to the list. So that's how we can use append for that. And one more thing, list is a mutable object. We can change the list value. Let's say I'm giving the first element value to the 25. I'm changing it, and if I print the value list, so first index is 20. I'm changing the 20 value to the 25. So now it's changed at 25. So list is a mutable object. Okay. To add multiple, the append will add only one value. To add multiple values, we have function called extend. Extend will have will add multiple values. To add multiple values, we need to give as a list here. So it will add multiple values. Now you can see here 70, 80, 90 are added to the list. The extend is used to add multiple values. And, clear is used to clear all the elements in the list. It will just give you an empty list. It makes that empty list. So now the list is empty. So it will delete all the elements here. Just command this. We have a copy. We'll talk later that, and count. With all this data type, we have count, that is for counting the element. So I am giving element 10. It will count how many times it occurs in the list. So only once. If you can guess index, you can have index also. If I put 20 here, it will give you the index of 20. So 20 is not in list because we have changed the 20 value to the 25. So you can change it to 25 here. So that is index number 1. Okay. We have another function called insert. Insert. Insert will insert a value between those values. Like if I give 3 here, so what is the index? 0, 1, 2, 3 here. So it will put the value in this index, and it will uh, let's see what happens. So insert in here, you need to give the index and another value. So it is inserted in the third index. We will not remove this third element. We will just move the third element and put the element in the third index. That's how insert will work. And we have pop to remove that, and it's also remove function. It will remove an element. So we need to give element here. If we pass element 10, it will remove the element 10. So it is removed the 10 element. So if you don't know the element, I just know the index, how you can remove. You can just use del keyword. Del keyword is used to delete values. If, del in delete, you need to pass like this index. If I'm going to pass 0, so that is index here. So area of index, it will remove that element. So just remove 25, 0 here. This removed the 25. You don't know element here. If you know element, you can use the remove function. If you don't know element, we know just index. You can use the del keyword to delete the values. Let's say I'm going to create another list li2 equal to, I'm going to pass the values of li. Okay. This list will go to li2. The last will go to li2. By print li2 here. So it is printing the same one. So that is li1 and li2 are the same. If I change li2 here, I'm changing li2 to just I'm putting 0 index to 10. Let's print again li2. Now I'm printing li2 is 2. I'm just changing the 0 index value to the 10. So the 30 will become 10. Okay, that is li2 here. Okay, I'm going to print li1. What will happen? Let's see. So list 1 also changed the value. What? Why we don't need like that. Okay, just passed the values to the li2, and now we are changing the li2, but it affects the first list li also. Why is because if I assign the li2 to li1, so this is a list here. So the list will pass not only the values, it will pass the memory address to the li2. If I print the memory addresses of the two list here, like id, can use a function called id to get the memory address. So I'm printing li2 address and li1 address. The both addresses are same. You can see here. Both addresses are same. So it is just passing memory address also. We can access a variable. You can only access a variable with a memory address. Okay. That's what if I change here, it affects li1 also. To, for this, we can do li.copy. What the copy will do, it will just share the elements, sorry, list only, not it will not pass the IDs. So this you can see here. So the two IDs are different. So now it is not changed. You can see it's 10 and li1 are not changed. So they say use of li.copy. And that's it. All about the list. Okay. Let's say I'm having an a list here. Here just I'm passing some integers. In this list, you can see some duplicate values. We need to filter the duplicate values here. We can filter. So that's we saw in sample 10. So how we are filtered the duplicate values. It's like this. You can define a tuple here and going to look through the list, and if the item is not in TUP, just assign the value to the TUP. After that, you can see the filtered tuple here, but we need to remove keyword arguments. So keyword argument means like in a function, let's say we have some parameters here, a comma b here. Let's take this example. Sub a comma b here. What the sub will do, it will subtract the value. In that we need to pass an arguments for a and b. If I pass 10 comma 15 here, it will give you -5. So -5 is not correct. Okay, you need to pass 15 comma 10. 15 comma 10. That's what. That's why it is giving me +5. So how I need is because like the largest value will go to the A and the least value will go to the B. How we can do? Just putting the parameter name here, A equal to 15. So it will assign 15 to the A and B to the 10. So it will assign 10 to the B parameter. So now always it will be positive. So always it will positive 5 only. So like this, I'm passing a equal 15, b equal 10. That is keyboard argument. Okay, let's move on to the filtering part. So we have a filtered tuple here. We don't want the tuple. We need the filtered list. Okay, we need to remove the duplicate values here. How we can remove using the remove function? But here I'm not going to filter using the tuple. I need the duplicate values, not the non. These are the non-duplicate values, but I need the duplicate values. So we can just use item in TOP that will give you duplicate values only. Sorry, not like that. We can do one more thing. So the 10 will come here. So we need to check. Okay, we can check like this. Is that also not in not in the TOP, and I'm going to give another condition. This li dot count of item would be greater than 1. So if that is greater than 1, that is a duplicate value. No. Okay, just add the value. Let's try to print that TOP. On this invalid syntax. Why it is invalid syntax here? Put the brackets here. See how it works. It says invalid syntax. Let's put whole bracket. Let's try that this works out. So sorry. We are not given the value. This problem here. So item not in TOP. We just put it not in here. So that's what it's getting an error. So you can see here it is giving me only the duplicate values only. So 10 is the duplicate value and 20 is the duplicate value. You need to remove the 10 and 20 in that list. So that will become the filtered list. Okay. For removing that, first we need to loop over the TOP in keyword. So the first item would be 10. We need to remove the 10 element. So removing the 10 element, we can use the remove function. Remove in that element, in that function we need to pass the element. The element is like 10. So it will remove 10 and it will remove 20. After removing that, if you print the list, it will become filtered list. You can see here on duplicate values. So that's how you can filter a list. Okay. Any doubts here? You can ask in that list tuple, string, and argument types. Whatever doubts you can ask. Okay. Any doubts here? we shall end this session today. Uh, from list we can add it. So after that we will see sets. One is sets and dictionary and modules and file input. So this core we will see the next session. So now we are stopping it from list. Okay. Any doubts from the list and tuple arguments? You can ask there. So no doubts. Any doubts you can ask. Please ask.